Alrighty, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be viewing Map 8 AQ Section 2. This will be the longest video of the AQ breakdowns, and there will be timestamps in the comment section, and there will be complete breakdowns of the paths, nodes, fights, and how to counter said fights and nodes. And the map itself, there are 10 fights, and there are two sets of shared path nodes, A and B, and you will see that on the map. This is not my map. This is made by Kat Murdoch, and her Twitter thing is right there in the image next to the Captain America cat, as you can see. And there are 10 paths, so there's no backup. And of course, the Nimrod mini we will not be breaking down, and that will be in the description, how to beat Nimrod in Section 2. Another thing to note about the structure of Map 8 that I didn't go over in my previous video is some of these nodes and paths are identical but with different defenders, and some of them are different, so you will definitely see that throughout this video and the Section 3 breakdown coming tomorrow. Okay, so the shared node, the set A shared nodes are passively special, meaning whenever the defender does a special, they gain a passive prowess for each hit that's blocked, which is a 30% special damage increase, and each ball-time block during a special attack grants the attacker a true damage passive for 10 seconds, and as well as redoubled determination, which is where the defender gains 50% attack and 15% combat power rate for each debuff on them, and bleeds, poisons, and armor breaks are double the effect. Anyone can beat these nodes, and the fights are Odin, Mangog, Yellow Jacket, Mr. Negative, and America Chavez. Anyone can go up against them and win as long as you have a high damage champ, you're good to go. Okay, the B set of shared nodes are Nerves of Steel, so every 6 seconds the defender gains an indefinite armor up passive, increasing armor rating by 15%, and max stacks of 10, and striking the defender's block removes an armor up. Aspect of Evolution, meaning their stats increase by 5% whenever the opponent fills a bar of power, and Power Alternator, meaning your power is going to be switched between the defender and your power and the defender's power will switch if you have higher power than the defender does. The fights for this set are Warlock, Red Hulk, Nightcrawler, Corvus, and Taskmaster. Nightcrawler is going to be the hardest one because he evades, but these fights can be beaten by anyone with high damage output, and that's pretty much that. Okay, Section 2, Path 1 of AQ, the cross fight for the path is Visionary, so each time the attacker purifies a debuff, they gain a steadfast charge, and these charges let the attacker block unblockable and heavy attacks at the cost of 1 charge, and this lasts for the next 3 fights. This path is also in Section 1, so the most annoying node for this path is Combat Deja Vu Unblockable, meaning if you use the same attack twice, the same type of basic attack twice, they're unblockable for 6 seconds, and you are armor broken and heal block for like 10 seconds whenever they throw a special. So basically, what you want for these fights, which is Rhino, Fury, and the champion, you want a champion that can basically deal DOTs, Mole Man, Fury, a mutant champion, too, would be good for this, too, to deal with Fury. So, yeah, that's what you would want to do to plan for this path. Path 2 of Section 2 of AQ. The crossfight for the path is Energy Displacement, meaning well-timed blocks inflict a displacement passive on the opponent for 10 seconds, and while active, each time the attacker inflicts a power lock, power drain, or power burn effect, the attacker gains a power gain buff, granting 20% of max power over 4 seconds, max 1 stack, and the effects of this node last for the next 3 fights. So, this is a pretty favorable node for champions like Warlock and Vision Age of Ultron, who can consistently power drain and power burn. Now, this is where all classes but Tech have their base attack reduced by 50%, powerful from afar, meaning when you're away from the defender, they gain a power gain buff, and when you're close to them, it's removed. And Aggression Prowess, every 2 seconds the defender gains a Power Prowess passive, increasing special damage by 50% per stack, and when you strike them, it's removed. So, the fights here are Mr. Sinister, Purgatory, and Apocalypse. Rule of thumb for this path: don't bring a mutant champion for this path. for this path, the best champs are going to be Warlock, OG Vision or Vision Age of Ultron are going to be phenomenal here as well. Any champion that can Power Drain, Power Burn, or Power Lock, or even Power Steal. Mystic and Tech champs who can Power Burn, Power Steal, or Power Lock are going to have a field day doing this path, and it'll be pretty easy. Just with Mystics, it'll take a little bit longer. Techs, it'll be much shorter. Path 3 of Section 2 of AQ. The Crossfight is specially different. Each time the attacker uses a different special than the last one used, they get an indefinite prowess passive, increasing special damage by 20%, max stacks 5, and this lasts for the next 3 fights. So, basically, using different specials will give you a prowess. You just have to alternate between specials. It doesn't matter which special. It could be Special 1, Special 3, Special 1, Special 2, Special 3, Special 2. It could be anything like that, but they'll probably be dead with the nodes that I'm going to describe. So the nodes here are Power Shield, Aggression, Regen, and Hurt Locker. Hurt Locker, using the same special twice, will give you a detonation charge, and it will take half your health if you don't strike them with a heavy if you use the same special attack twice. Aggression, Regen, every 2 seconds. They will gain a Regen passive, and it will keep going up exponentially. And all damage, excluding DOTs, is reduced to nothing, and special damage is increased by 400%. So, the best way to deal with this path with Red Magneto, Tigra, and Jabari Panther, bring a champion that has high special damage. Corvus, Hercules, Moleman with his guaranteed crit specials, Ghost, champions along those lines, Professor X, Apocalypse, champions that have high special damage are going to crush this path regardless of the aggression regen node, because they'll be dead in one special if you do that strategy. Okay, path 4 in section 2 of AQ. The node is shocking defense, and that's while the defender is suffering from a shock. The attacker is stun immune, and this lasts for the next 3 fights. So this is also in section 1, and the nodes are actually pretty simple here. And as you can see with the notification, I am an NFL guy. So yeah, and I'm a Steelers fan, and it's gonna be miserable whether we win or lose to the Browns. So, yep, it's kind of miserable being a Steelers fan. But anyways, back to AQ. This path is in section 1 as well, but with different champs. So it makes the path a little bit different. So the nodes are hard head, meaning when you try to stun them, it's gonna go back onto you for 2.5 seconds, and it goes on a 7-second cooldown before it comes back. When you knock them down, they get a cruelty passive for 7 seconds, and they can crit you for the block. And Fighting Dirty, that node is when the defender activates a special. Once it's finished, they gain an unblockable passive for 6 seconds, and that's pretty much the most annoying nuance of this path. Now, the champions on this path are Omega Red Airwalker and Omega Red Gladiator Hulk, and then Airwalker. So this path in general is a joke because of these 3 defenders. Anyone can do this path. I wouldn't bring in a bleed champ just because Omega Red punishes champs who bleed him with his death field being up when he's being bled. So anyone can do this path. It's just Gladiator Hulk can go unstoppable with his smash attacks, and Omega Red has his death spore, so that's pretty much the only thing you need to know about dealing with this. But other than that, pretty easy path. Okay, path 5 in section 2 of AQ. The crossfight is miscommunication, so when you perform a well-timed block, you gain a vigilance passive, and intercepting you gain 2, and this will prevent you from missing, and this will last for the next 3 fights. This is probably one of the most favorable Hercules crossfights ever in AQ. This makes Hercules broken for this path, and you will see why. So the nodes are Arrogance, meaning every 10 hits, you gain a Falter passive, and you gain a Falter passive on you, and it lasts an additional second because of Faltering Mind, and your defensive ability accuracy is reduced by 100%. And then there's Ebb and Flow Intercept, meaning they have 60% damage reduction until you intercept them, and then you gain a Fury, giving you 40% more attack. Hercules is the absolute best for this path. He can completely destroy it. Anyone can do this path. Ghost can do it. Corvus can do it. Fury, Moleman, Jabari Panther, even Groot can do this path. That just shows you how easy this path is. Miles Morales can make you miss after you throw a special against him, but with the vigilance charges that you get for the lane killer, it doesn't matter. CMM is a joke, and Hercules, he'll just go immortal, and you basically want to play him stun immune the whole time, because when you knock him down, he gets a feat of strength, and he'll be stun immune when that happens, and he also goes immortal at 1% health. Okay, Path 6 in Section 2. The Crossfight is distracted, meaning the attacker's special attacks are passively unblockable, while the defender is suffering from at least 2 unique debuffs, and this lasts for the next 3 fights. So yeah, this is a pretty beneficial thing for the Path. The Path nodes itself aren't that tough, but they can be if you have the wrong counter. So Atomic Overlock, all classes but Tech and Science reduce their attack by 50%. And then Nerves of Steel, every 6 seconds the defender gains an indefinite armor up passive, increasing armor rating by 15%. Max stacks 10, and striking the defender's block removes an armor up, and encroaching stun. Every 20 seconds the attacker becomes stunned for 3 seconds, unless they're performing a special 1 or 2 attack, and then the timer will just keep moving and you will not get stunned during that special. So, the best champions to beat this path are Hercules and Nick Fury, because Fury in his second life is stun immune, and Hercules, when he has a feat of strength, is stun immune. Really, any champion who can get to their specials quickly and throw them are going to be great for the path, because the only thing you need to counter here is encroaching stun. That's the only node you need to deal with, is encroaching stun. Human Torch would be phenomenal here. Warlock would be a great option. Warlock would be a decent option. Ghost would be one of the best to deal with this path. Ghost and Torch and Fury and Herc are the best for this path, personally. Path 7 in Section 2, the crossfight for it is Unyielding Punishment, meaning the attacker's while-time blocks will inflict a debilitate charge, meaning the duration of your Bleed, Poison, Incinerate, Cold Snap, and Armor Breaks are increased by 50%, max attacks of 3 with those debilitate charges, and you get those on 3 and you can get those on well-timed blocks. And this helps the node a lot. This is also in Section 1, so you're probably already familiar with this if you've done it. And that is all classes but Cosmic and Mutant reduce their attack by 50%. I kind of botched that on the first one. And then Persistent Pressure. The defender is stun immune while under the effects of Unstoppable, and that includes Unstoppable triggered outside of the node, and every 15 seconds the defender will go Unstoppable. And that for 5 seconds, and it's reduced by half a second per prowess buff or passive the attacker has. And there is Dish Track, meaning you need 3 debuffs on the opponent to deal your full damage, or else they're indestructible. So, for the fights on this path, Red Skull, Stealth Spidey, and Yondu, you really only need an evade counter to Stealth Spidey, and you'll be A-okay. So Nick Fury, Mole Man, Venom, champions that have a lot of debuffs and can counter evade will get through this path. You do have to watch out for that Unstoppable, but other than that, that's pretty much what you need to know to deal with this path successfully. Path 8 in Section 2, the Crossfight is getting buff, meaning during the attacker's special attacks, any buff they gain or debuff they inflict lasts 40% longer. So whenever you're throwing a special, let's say you're Hyperion, if you gain a power gain during your special, it's going to last 40% longer, and if you inflict an armor break and or stun, that's going to last 40% longer too. So that's basically what that does. Now the nodes, this is kind of useless to deal with these nodes because they actually are pretty annoying. Buffed up attacker, the defender takes 100% less damage while the attacker has less than 3 buffs applied to them. And there's also buffed up defender, meaning this defender takes 100% less damage while they have less than 3 buffs applied to them. And there's no hit mercy, meaning you knock them down, they get a cruelty passive, and they have a chance to crit you through the block. So you're basically fighting buffs with buffs. That's basically what that is. You cannot bring a nullified champion or a heavy armor break champion to deal with this. So the fights are Venom, Colossus, and Super Skrull. What you want to do is bring in a champion who gains buffs, and you do not want to bring in a champion that puts on armor break because of these champs. So the fights are Venom, Colossus, and Super Skrull. Any champ with a lot of buffs, they'll do fine for this path. You just have to watch out for Super Skrull and his ability to make you falter after 20 seconds. Okay, Path 9 in Section 2. The Crossfight is both eyes on you. The attacker gains access to 2 modes. becoming passively indestructible for 0.80 seconds while attacking, and regenerating 70% of block damage. Knocking down the defender switches the active mode, and the effect of this node lasts for this fight and the next 3 fights. So basically, you'll start in the indestructible mode when you're attacking, and if you knock him down, you'll regenerate 70% of block damage when you knock down the opponent, then they'll switch to that mode, and then they'll go back and forth. So the path itself, the nodes are Prey on the Feeble, meaning whenever the attacker's buffs are nullified, or expire, or fail to trigger due to like ability accuracy, the defender gains a passive prowess, increasing special damage by 100% until their next special attack. Their specials are fully unblockable, and 100% of the damage dealt to the defender while they are stunned is dealt back to the attacker. This is a pretty annoying node combo, and the Crossfight does literally nothing to deal with that, and I'm not even joking. So, the actual fights for this path are Strife, Jubilee, and Daredevil Hell's Kitchen. Daredevil Hell's Kitchen doesn't have any projectiles, so his specials are very easy to avoid. Jubilee, she has a projectile in her special 2, so just bait special 1s. Strife, he has a projectile in a special 1 and 2, so that can be a little frustrating if you don't know his animations. Get familiar with Strife, Jubilee, and Daredevil Hell's Kitchen special animations. You have to play them stun immune, because the one-eyed opening is 100% of the damage dealt to the defender while their stun is dealt back to you. Anyone can do this path, you just gotta play them stun immune and be good at dexing their specials. Okay, path 10 in section 2. The thing is interception, so each time an attacking robot lands an intercept, they gain a passive fury, granting 100% attack and remove all unstoppable effects on the defender. This is a great node considering the fights that you have to deal with on this path. Now, the nodes itself are Delirium, meaning you have reverse controls. Your dash and dodge controls are inverted, so dashing forward is actually dashing backward, and vice versa. And under pressure, if you dash back twice, you get a disorient for 1.2 seconds. And there's Mighty Charge 2, meaning when the defender dashes at you, they purify debuffs and are passively unstoppable. So the fights on this path are Wolverine, Havoc, and Night Thrasher. Warlock would crush this path. He'd be the best. Gilly 2099 would do great. Any robot can crush this path, basically. You can bring in other champs that can do this path, like if you needed a Corvus charge. Bring in a Warlock, bring in a Havoc counter, like a Warlock, a Gilly 2099, or a champion that can power drain or power burn like Vision, Age of Ultron, and OG Vision, and you'll be good to go for this path. And that is pretty much what you need to know to deal with this. I'm not going to harp on this for too long, but this Overwhelm Boss Killer Crossfight is when you strike the defender's block. When you strike the defender or hitting their block, builds the attacker's Overwhelm meter by 1. Dashing backward or standing still reduces it by 1. When you get to 15 stacks, you gain a passive Fury, granting 300% attack for 8 seconds, and while it's active, the meter can't be charged. And after the Fury resets, the meter's reset, and the effect of this node can occur in the next fight, but not this one. You can use this against Nimrod. That's basically what it does. You don't need it, but it will definitely help you beating Nimrod, and that's what you need to know for Section 2 of Map 8 Alliance Quest. Alright, don't forget to like and subscribe and flex on that notification bell so you don't miss out on any new content, and I will be catching you guys very, very soon for Section 3, Map 8 AQ Complete Breakdown tomorrow.